Welcome back, tribe. Matty I with the Lose Control podcast, the paradox to positive, peaceful living. The paradox is when I lose control of trying to control people, places, and things, results, outcomes, the relationships in my life began to get better. Insights like that and many more tools on how to seek out a tribe whose philosophy and design for living resonate deeply within your own aspirations. As we listen, we will confront the overwhelming weight of shame and guilt. We will feel the crushing presence. We will then immerse into the stories, peel back that onion, that delve into the darkest depths of the human experience that's always marked with excruciating pain and suffering, the underbelly of society we will find ourselves. However, amidst this darkness, you'll also discover the transformative power of pure, unfiltered honesty through raw, heartfelt narratives. The podcast illuminates the exquisite beauty of self-discovery and the courageous journey towards self-forgiveness. This shit lies on us heavy, man, and it eats us from inside out. But if I don't know why, or if I can't identify why I'm decaying from the inside, then I can't fix it. And I found that with the principles in my life, which only came into my life when I finally understood that a power greater than myself, which I said there was a God my whole life, and not the Catholic God you grow up that you're sinner all the time until, the Bible, there's stories and they all have meaning, and when somebody else that's smarter than me can break it down and how it pertains to my life today, I listen to a story and how they break it down and how it pertains to my life today. Because I like to be mindful and aware of the information that's being passed on to me and how I can use it to benefit my life. It was different this time as, it wasn't the fact that, I brought myself to eating a gun. It was just, yes, everybody has to have their bottom. And I believe that I was tired of fighting, but I was also ready to do the work. I was 265 pounds in jaundice. I was, it was bad. I was unhealthy, man. I was sick, but I got right. From the first day I was allowed to go outside, I started walking. And I started walking, which is part of my story, my fitness. It's absolutely awesome on how it pertains to my life and my recovery. I put myself in a false sense of failing because I can step away from it at any given moment. And when I succeed at that moment, I add more validity to my mindset, my perception on life, that you are a good person and you can succeed, you can overcome. Now, of course, the things that I failed with in my life and the chaotic situations and the unbelievable negativity, the self-pity and self-loathing dripping off the walls, the darkness that surrounded me, I didn't have a chance to fight through any of that. At that point, I understood that there is a power greater than myself, and I need to understand that. If there's negativity that you can breed, then there's the opposite side of the coin, which is positive energy. And I see it around me. And what I understood is I need to know the we part of the first step. The we is being around people that are like-minded, that have common goals. I'm not a big advocate about we're the earth people and all that shit. I'm not setting anybody apart from anybody because we were given a gift that a majority of society does not have. And these are the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous: the honesty, the open-mindedness, the integrity, all of these big words. And vulnerability is another big word I understood that is key to my sobriety. When I become vulnerable, I've been able to then listen to you and learn about me, and I've been able to let my guard down. And when you let your guard down, people come into that and they share shit with you that you're not even worthy to hear it, but you're some sort of solace and landing pad for them as well. And that's when I got hooked on that. Seeing that, is what was the birth of the podcast. And it's not monetary. It's nothing more than a hobby and talking with people about life and their experiences on everything they've gone through. And I've been nothing but a sponge for the last 3 years of absorbing and putting good shit into my ears and listening. I journal. and I focus on these principles, man, on how I can improve on it, And when I share with people and guys that call me and we talk, it's good stuff, man, and it's nothing that I made up. I'm a big believer that this is my design for living is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's my framework. And shame on me if I don't build on it. So people can stay in this box. That's fine. No problem. And this is the other thing I learned. I'm not going to be the aliens and then there's us. We've been fighting our whole lives to be a part of something and then we try to separate. It makes no sense to me. We're all trying to navigate this rock flying through the universe. So I want to surround myself with other people like-minded, And so that's where I spend my time now, is I don't set unrealistic expectations. I work on that, that's hard. I'm not so hard on myself, work on it. But these are all thought processes that I have. I'll share with you one of the best tools that I've learned in the last 3 years of my life, and it is this. Which, yes, it is that 3-second pause changes every decision you make. Whatever I was about to do stops and changes from that moment forward because I'm processing the moment. The world stops for a second. I spent 94% of my life reacting and thinking of how I'm going to respond to whatever you're saying. Now we reflective listen, right? We pause. I'm open-minded to whatever. This is my way to get sober. But you know what I found? There's lots of people out there that have found a peaceful balance. So I want to talk and listen to them and find what they do too and see if I can add it to my program. And just keep innovating and improving and adding to it. And hopefully this rolls over to other people. No, I can't tell anybody how to get sober, but exactly what I do, And I'm very, very happy with where I'm at. I had trouble to this day saying it. My wife says he's become a man I didn't even ever think he could be. And when it says restore, take power in ourselves, restore insanity. And me and Norm talked about this. I said, I don't see restorative insanity. I don't ever even remember being sane, And of course he is, the perspective on it is, from the sanity of the drinking and whatnot. But that has to be with this. I'm in a place in my life where I'm just, you work and you work and you work, and you start to see progress and changes. And I never did that before because everything came so easy to me. And then I just rip it all down, But I understood that when I do the inside work on me, everything starts to take care of itself. Life is made up of relationships, and if I'm not right, I can't have relationships with anybody. So to be able to have my wife tell me that you're not setting boundaries with your child, that comment, who the fuck are you to tell me that? No, that's not the comment. No. Okay. So how can I readjust that, And these are conversations that you can have with other men. And it's only because of the energy that you're putting out from what we learn and what we decide to manifest that into, and that's positive energy. That whole corny little saying, I get to instead of got to, it's that one letter and that change of thought process. I said that to the wife. I said, man, I've got editing your podcast, which is about living life and having conversations as to how we improve and move forward. And I'm going to work on publishing a book. And I'm like, reread that text. Where are you? What world are you in? It's those things that bring me peace and solace. Yeah, mom's still sick. The kid's still batshit crazy. I'm losing my mind over it. But it's not this impermanence that we seek anymore. This pleasure, happiness, and pleasure are hitting a $20 scratch off. Peace. We have peace and a balance in it. And what that means is I adjust my physical hygiene, my emotional hygiene, and my mental hygiene to whatever level it needs to be so I'm spiritually fit, so I can communicate with the higher being. And that communication requires me to listen and do whatever it's said to do. So now I've got forward thinking and backward planning. What does that mean? So what if I want to get here, I need to know what I need to do before I get there, and so on and backward. Before it was just a hot mess going through, and I didn't know where I was going. There was no clarity, there was no direction, and I didn't have a purpose. And today I feel like I have one, and I'm happy about that. It's not merely the events that shape your future, it's your actions and responses to them that matter most. Instead of confronting my imperfections, I find myself placing unnecessary obstacles in my path. False perceptions, which is the deprivation of self-awareness, lack of discipline, which is the absence of self-love, distortions of envy, a manifestation of unfilled effort. I want what you got, but I'm not willing to do the work to get it. These are learned behaviors. These are learned thought patterns that hinder my progress, anybody's progress, moving toward their goals. There's no summit for nothing in life for Maddie. There's not. There's goals to attain them, and then next. Matthew McConaughey said it best. That's who I want to be in 10 years. You'll never catch that person, so you're always moving forward. And that's how I look at my sobriety, is always improving. And the more work I do, I thrive. When I accept these distortions, I'm not being truly honest with myself. When I accept these distortions, I'm wasting precious, non-refundable time. The most valuable commodity we have. And I'll learn to process. And with this shift, my honesty will deepen and my self-discovery will flourish. And that's what's happening. I will step aside from my own path, recognizing that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'll find my sense of self. The light of a higher calm, God, a higher power, will transform every relationship in my life. And that's what's happening.
A design for living. The whole key is lines of communication with myself. Become more accepting of myself, more honest with myself, to function, process, and communicate in all our relationships at the highest possible level. We need a working relationship with our thoughts and feelings. So find a tribe that has a design for living you want. Do what they do. Life is a continuous process of discovery and adaptation. We unravel its mysteries piece by piece, layer by layer. We learn, we evolve. Embrace this journey with an open heart and mind. Embrace the belief in a higher calm's plan. Embrace the transcendent blueprint that guides us through the chaos of existence. Thanks for listening. If you or anyone you know is struggling, please have them reach out. Stay positive with Matthew at gmail.com. The podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, and Podchaser. Podcast Morning Microdose can be found on TikTok at the Lose Control Podcast 1, Facebook, and Instagram at the Lose Control Podcast. The only thing I can control is what's inside my hula hoop.